if you find yourself, for the girls especially, leaning towards wanting to post that picture, wanting to send that boy that photo, potentially wanting to join that OnlyFans account or whatever it is, just literally put a timer on your phone for 10 minutes. Put a timer on your phone for 10 minutes and sit there and ask yourself why. And just keep asking why, keep asking why, keep asking why. Why do I want to join OnlyFans? Well,
Hi, Victoria. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to join our platform podcast, now Clique in Portugal. It is the first time we have someone from so far away helping us understanding this important issue about not only pornography, but specifically today about your experience in OnlyFans. But before deeping deeping a bit diver in the OnlyFans, please tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, where you come from, your background.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much as well for having me. It's such a delight to be able to, come on and see that, all over the world people care so much about this. So it's really cool. So yeah, thank you so much as well. I really appreciate you having me on. Um, as for me, yeah, my name is Victoria. I'm 26. I was born and raised in Melbourne, Australia. I guess like a little bit of like a fun fact. I'm technically like not Australian, I guess you could say. My father was born in Greece, in a little
Okay,
town.
so a bit
Yeah.
European as us as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then my mother was born in England, in Manchester. So
Mhm.
half Greek, half English. Grew up with two older brothers, so I'm the youngest. My mum is one of seven. So I have many, many, many cousins, and I have 10 little nieces and nephews that are all under
Oh,
three.
awesome.
Yeah. And that's basically it. I hang out with them and I talk about why OnlyFans is bad.
And do you come from a religious background? Was that in any way important for your story, your testimony, or it is totally independent?
No, so truly, 11 months ago is when I had a radical encounter with Jesus, and that's what changed everything and has set me on this trajectory. That's what took me out of working in the OnlyFans industry. That's what helped me to realize, basically the darkness of it.
Yeah.
I grew up going to a born again Christian church, but I stopped going when I was about 12 years old.
Okay.
And then, excuse me, didn't return to a church, which is a crazy story if you want to hear it, but until I was 25, yeah.
Whoa, whoa! No, that's amazing. We'll go there. But just out of curiosity, have you ever been to Europe? I believe so, but to Portugal, have you ever been to Portugal
No,
or?
no, I was in Europe 2 years ago, but I was
Okay.
just in Greece.
Okay,
In the
so
home
next
country.
time you're around, you're more than invited, of course, to a cup of coffee here in Portugal. We're very happy
Yeah,
to
I
receive
would
you
love that.
if you'd like. Okay, so and well, in Portugal, I believe many people already know about OnlyFans, but from what we follow from other pages, mainly in the United States, UK, also in Australia, I believe that it is not as huge a phenomenon as it is there. For
Mm.
all those that are listening as that never heard or only have a very shallow idea of OnlyFans is, can you tell us a bit about what was the original project and what OnlyFans is today?
Yeah, absolutely. So OnlyFans was created back in 2016, I'm pretty sure. And the original intent of something like OnlyFans was to be a new creative platform, which meant that you were able to more so have a one-on-one relationship with the creator. So we see on social media, like Instagram and all of that, if you have thousands of followers, it's very hard to have a personal relationship with that content creator. So OnlyFans was originally designed for that and also as a way to be able to more so decentralize social media, I guess, through paid subscriptions. So if you're like, I love cooking, I want to show people how I cook, You could basically have a locked paid page and you could have people subscribe to your page and they could see how you could cook. Now, with this, there's this thing called not safe for work. And so that's the terminology that's used in Twitter, Reddit, and on OnlyFans. And basically, what that means is that you can put pornographic content on these websites and it's okay. So in 2020, during the COVID lockdowns, is when OnlyFans just boomed
Yeah.
and it became a pornographic website.
Mm.
And so now OnlyFans is very much attributed to the buying and selling of porn. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They hear words like content creation and like OnlyFans model, but it's pornography and it's yeah, the selling and buying of pornography.
And when did you start knowing a bit more about OnlyFans? You worked for an agency, that's correct? That was kind of a
Right.
startup there?
Yep, yep. So what had happened was is a very close personal friend of mine had approached me and said that they had started a OnlyFans agency. And they did this because a very close personal friend of theirs was already in the OnlyFans industry. So they were quite known here in Australia and they already had a big following on social media and on OnlyFans.
Mm.
Now they were complaining about their agency. And so then they decided to start up one. And then they asked me, due to my background in marketing and startup businesses, to help them. So that's kind of how I got into the role.
And back then, was your view about OnlyFans? What was your perception?
Yeah, I really didn't have much of an education or an understanding of it, to be honest with you. You hear rumors of, oh, I think people can just sell their feet on there, or like silly things. And again, it's painted with this brush of content creation.
Yes.
So for me, someone who's personally never watched pornography, never really been exposed to it, I didn't understand what porn was. And then just in my close circle of friends already, there was people that were doing OnlyFans. And from the outside, it was like, hey, these people were poor, now they're rich. These people are
Mm.
Instagram famous, they can travel, they have nice things. Therefore, this must be a positive. And I had a close personal friend of mine saying that this was okay. So it was kind of a mixture of all of those things, which led me to believe that OnlyFans must be a positive.
Okay, and when was that?
This was last year
Let's
in
see.
not last year, the year before in 2022 is when I
2020,
started.
when you started.
Yeah.
And for how long did you stay in
Oh.
linked to the agency?
So just to like be super specific, in 2022 is when the agency started and I was like it
So
was an
you're there from
unofficial.
inception, or sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Yeah.
From
So
inception, okay. Understood.
yeah, but not in like an official capacity. Obviously, having
Okay.
no money coming into a business as a startup. So I was never an owner or anything like that. But again, it was a close personal friend. So you're
Mm.
like unofficial advisory
Mm.
until they could put me on an official capacity. And then I was on the books as a paid employee in April of last year. And I lasted as a paid employee for 5.5 weeks before I left.
Okay. And during that time period, what was your role? What were
So
your functions there?
yeah, I like to break an agency down into like three different aspects because not a lot of people have even heard of an OnlyFans agency.
Yeah.
And so the first role of an OnlyFans agency is to represent the girl. And so it's account management. And so basically, when a girl gets to a certain point in her OnlyFans account, again, as we're talking about, one of the biggest allures is that it's like a you are talking to the person type of thing. But if you have 10,000 subscribers, you can't sit there and talk to 10,000 people at once. So you offset that. And so that's
Mm.
where an agency comes in. So an agency is actually pretending to be an OnlyFans girl on their behalf to make as much money as possible off of them. And so they will actually, an agency will hire people from third world countries. Ours were from the Philippines. And they put these chatters on the account. And those chatters pretend to be the OnlyFans girl to her subscribers with the main goal and intent of getting as much money as possible off these subscribers. So that's aspect number one. And then aspect number two is marketing. And so that's what my role was. So to build the marketing division of this agency. So again, if you're having subscribers coming in, they need to be coming from somewhere. So my role and responsibility was to get girls to be as social media famous as possible through very specific curated content that would bend the algorithms for virality. And through that, you would be able to funnel people from TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, Twitter, anywhere to OnlyFans for them to be a paid subscriber. So that was my role. And then the third role is recruitment. So recruitment is basically scouring TikTok and Instagram, looking for girls that fit a certain criteria, that post particular things, have a certain amount of followers, and you message them in the hopes that either they'll come to your agency or that they'll join the OnlyFans platform and start doing porn and you can represent them. So that's kind of what an agency is, and then what my role was at the agency.
And what would be the typical profile in terms of girls that one agency would look for?
Yeah, so for our agency specifically, it was a bit of an anomaly, I guess you could say, because two of the owners were already quite well known in Australia with a social media presence and through OnlyFans. The agency where we were at was very much like you had to be quite specific. So you needed to have at least like a minimum of like 20,000 followers or up, but you didn't want to have like 2 million, because if you had 2 million, then it kind of, the possibility of you doing OnlyFans is probably less, or you're already doing it type of thing. And then they obviously, yeah, had to have a certain look about them, a certain aesthetic, and they also had to be posting provocative content already for us to want to have them. But that was kind of the demographic.
And that agency you worked for, I believe you were working only with Australian girls, correct? Or
Yeah,
all
yeah.
around the world with Australian girls?
Just Australia.
Just Australia, okay. But do you have do you know other agencies, for instance, in the United States, for instance, or UK, or if my question is that if it is like a specific startup there, or if it is something what you experienced that is happening all around the world, if you
Correct.
know.
Yes, it's happening all around the world. Absolutely. The biggest
Okay.
agency in America is called Arsenic, and they
Okay.
yeah, kind of have all these different facets, but they say that they're like a content social media management company, which is usually a guise for that they do OnlyFans as well.
Okay, okay, that's really interesting to know. Now let's focus a bit on the recruitment part of the agencies. So I believe not only OnlyFans but also in the porn industry as a whole that there is a lot of coercion taking place, a lot of manipulation. So starting with your experience, how easy you find it was to manipulate girls to join the OnlyFans?
Yeah, well, because it's so glorified, and because as well our agency, because of the presence that it already had, the allure was come to our agency and you will have these elite parties, these
Mm,
multi-million dollar houses, these extravagant dinners, all these things. You'll be a part of this sisterhood of luxury. And so that was the allure. And so if you had one of the girls that was the owners messaging you, you'd be like, oh my gosh, wow, blah blah's messaged me. They're so famous, they're so rich, they want me. And so to be honest with you, it was quite easy, I guess you could say,
yeah.
to be able to try and outreach to girls and stuff like that. Because there was already, I guess, a little bit of a name out there. And because OnlyFans is so glorified, people see it almost as a compliment,
I see.
to that, yeah, you want them to do OnlyFans.
Okay, but now guide us a bit on starting where we are, but guide us a bit about those myths and these misconceptions that people typically have about OnlyFans. First, if it is as easy as it seems to become rich and famous and have that elite lifestyle you're talking about.
Mm.
And also not only from the perspective of the girls. I believe that also the ones consuming those type of contents are also victims in some sense, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So for instance, the illusion people have of creating a relationship when in reality it is not like that. Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the big ones. Absolutely, is you think that you're talking to the girl, but you're probably not. You're probably talking to someone in the Philippines who's paid and trained to basically extort money from you. And it's fraud because you're pretending to be someone under the guise of that. So there's that element. And then another one, which I think people don't really understand, is there's this stigma that OnlyFans is liberating and that it's empowering. And the thing is, in the porn industry, as we know, a consumer, someone who buys porn, has this already preconceived notion, or any type of sex buyer, to be more specific, has this preconceived notion that I own you because
Mm.
I'm buying something and it's your essence, it's your body. And so there's this weird power play with subscribers because they have a sense of entitlement. And so they want these things called custom requests, or just even constant attention from the girls, whatever it is. And so there's this pressure from the girls to, because at the end of the day, it's a service-based job. It's not like you're going on there and I can do whatever I want. And so you're providing a service to these subscribers. If you're not satisfying your customer, then you're not a very good business. So you've got this influencing factor from your subscribers that are pressuring you to probably do more, do what they want. You're addicted to the compliments, you're addicted to the money, so your morals are bending. So is it really liberating? And then from there, you've also got an agency which basically just wants to make as much money as possible from you at whatever cost. So then you're being softly manipulated by your agency. So there's not really this dream of autonomy and freedom and girl power because you're actually being softly manipulated and coerced by both ends. And then for the money factor, a lot of people do think, oh, I can just jump on OnlyFans and make money. Well, there was a 2024 report and it was just some basic statistics around OnlyFans, and the average wage of an OnlyFans creator is 140 USD a month. So
Oh.
in 2021, I think it was, there was 2.1 million creators on the platform, and only 300 of those 2.1 million made more than $1 million a year. So you can start to see that if you have, a couple thousand followers or whatever, you think you're going to jump on OnlyFans, make a bunch of money. You realize you have to do these extreme acts for very little money. And then that's literally on display for the whole entire world to see for forever. Like you can't get rid of it. So that's kind of the main ones I think that people think is a positive of OnlyFans.
Yeah, and talking about that extreme, I want to ask you about the levels. Correct? You when you recruit someone, there is kind of they need to know, to fill a form or something like that, where people need, or the girls need to explain what level would her be comfortable to do. Correct? Can you
Yes.
explain us a bit about those levels, what each of one entails?
Yes, yes. So for the agency where I was, again, it comes back to this thing of you think that you're creating your own boundaries, but we're telling you what your boundaries are.
Mm.
So we have this thing called levels. And so levels was basically the type of porn content that you were comfortable with doing. So level one was Instagram content, so bikinis, lingerie. Level two was implied nude. So maybe you're naked, but you're covering up. Level three is full nudity, and then you get into the more hardcore pornography. Level four is everything but anal, excuse the language. And then level five is everything. And so I was the one that actually came up with this idea. I was like, why do we have a level one? People aren't going to pay to see on OnlyFans what they can see on Instagram. So we got rid of level one.
Mm.
So you're already coming into the agency, coming into OnlyFans, thinking that I can set the standard of what I'm comfortable with, but we're already telling you you have to fit in these certain structures to be a part of our agency. So again, you think that you're coming in with autonomy, with freedom, but you're already going into this ecosystem of being told what you can and can't post type of thing.
No, it makes sense. And
Hmm.
I was also curious about and tell us what your experience was like. But I believe like people when starting, I don't know the distribution of what they feel comfortable, but I assume the majority will be more towards level 2 or level 3.
Mm.
Was it common for someone that said, for instance, I only want to do level 2 or level 3 to jump to level 4 or level 5? If you understood my question.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they're probably, yes. To answer your question, yes, people do feel that they have to do more, that they're definitely, again, from subscribers, pressured to do more to jump to those levels. Did we have in a systematic way someone jumping from like a level saying, hey, I want to be a level 3 now? No, there wasn't that
Mm,
type of communication.
okay.
But you could see it through the type of content that they would end up posting, that those lines were getting blurred, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes total sense. So
Yeah.
where I wanted to get was that even someone that said, okay, I just want to do a very soft content just to have just to make a bit of money. I need to pay my studies. You've surely heard stories like that.
Yeah.
And by seeing that it was not working and they need more money, they probably said, okay, so I will relax a bit my standards here, and it was like a process that leads people through, can call it manipulation, even if it is inwards, correct? Leads people to do what, if they were truly free, as you were speaking just a bit ago, they wouldn't do. See,
Mm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
that
couldn't agree
happens.
more.
Okay, and tell us a bit about other aspect that I also think it's important for people to understand about porn and about OnlyFans. Can you give us a bit, I know you're an expert in demographics, so give us a bit of statistics on percentage of married persons as subscribers there, average age, income levels.
Yeah.
What can you share with us?
I wouldn't say an expert. I didn't figure it out. I don't know how these people figured it out. But yeah, basically, I thought that was quite interesting that the average OnlyFans subscriber is a 29-year-old male. And it's about 80, I think it's 89%. I'd have to check these statistics again. I'm so sorry. But and something crazy, like 87.9% of male subscribers are married on OnlyFans.
Well,
And then the average, which is just like you can think about the ramifications of relationships just from that. And then the average income is about a $49,000 a year income. So you can see that it's these men that are coming into middle age, potentially married, middle socioeconomic status, that are the ones that are consuming the most on OnlyFans.
well. And how is the age verification process in OnlyFans? Do you think it is a strong age verification procedure, or anyone, and mainly creators can sign in and start posting material there?
Yeah, yeah, there's really no age verification process whatsoever. You just need to upload an ID to prove that you're 18, and that's it.
Well, and do you know if there is content involving minors, under 18 girls in OnlyFans? I'm asking this because, as you probably know, the term that is most searched for in
Hmm.
traditional porn sites, at least, is like teen or barely
Yeah.
legal. You see?
Yeah, yeah.
Is this
Well,
the same in OnlyFans?
absolutely. So there was a girl that we had at the agency that was the top earner, and she was the youngest at the agency. And we would lie about her age and say that
Mm.
she was 18 years old. And so we saw that the younger, the better, they make more money. And as you said, I found this thing. And the only thing I can explain it as, do you remember the white pages? How it was like this big book and it had like all
Yes,
business
yes.
in it? Yeah. So it was like a white pages for OnlyFans, and it was like on the dark web as a way that you could like promote girls. And again, the most requested was barely legal, fresh teen, and teen.
Mm.
So we started to see that the younger they are, the more money they make. As for seeing anyone that we knew was underage, no, at our agency, there was no one that was underage. We would lie about being 18 or something like that. But I never saw personally, but I do know that it's a thing.
Well, that's really disturbing. Well, it's the same in the porn industry, or even or even worse. It's like an agency works a bit as a pimp, and it is a pimp even if they are 18 or 19 or 20. I think still very disturbing, and
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
mm,
And truly, I like it's a pimp, like literally an OnlyFans agency. If you
sorry
stood,
for the
I say
slang, but
no, no, no. I agree with you. I use this analogy. I'm like, imagine if me and the other women that owned the agency, well, the owners of the agency, sorry, and I stood on like a street corner and we went up to young girls and we're like, hey, how old are you? We think you're really cute. Have you ever thought about doing porn? Would you like you'd be like, you're a freak, like get away from them.
yeah,
But yet we do it on the internet and it's like
it's glamorous.
empowering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird. Why do you think it works like that? It's a cultural thing. It's a lack of education. What do you think can explain
I
such?
think it's both. I think that there's a lack of education to the consequences nowadays in a world where everything is so fast. And so people don't understand that there's actually long-term ramifications for things. And also people don't understand what OnlyFans is and that it is porn and that it is there for forever. And then as well, in this world that we live in, because of the mass, we've never seen pop culture and just culture in general influence people the way that it has now. And that's because of social media. And so the negative of that is that everyone idolizes the glamorous life, the
Mhm.
elite life, the luxuries. And so they attribute a lot of that to being successful, being worthy, having purpose. And the funneling system for that for females is through OnlyFans, is the general stigma of what people think.
Okay, and something that probably also contributes to that is it's like and it doesn't happen only in OnlyFans. It's
Mm.
cultural. I think it's changing the words. It's stop calling things by its name. So instead of sex word, you have content creation. Instead
Yeah.
of porn stars, you have creators. Correct?
Mm.
That also should help people. I know to feel justified in some sense if you see.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It is. It's fluff words that seem to dumb down the severity of things.
Wow. How easy or how difficult it is to for someone that start producing content in OnlyFans to go away, say I'm full of this. Doesn't make any sense. I worth more. I deserve more. And I want to leave this. How easy or how difficult it is to leave?
Yeah. I think that people have to understand that it's not that simple. It's not as easy as I'm just going to delete my account. And there's two aspects to why that is. And the first one is the psychological aspect. So just say if you've been doing OnlyFans for maybe 3 to 5 years and you're coming on to 30 now, and this is this is a specific situation that I saw. and you hate doing OnlyFans. You are done with doing porn and you're at your capacity. And yet, maybe you've only made like $1 million. And $1 million isn't enough to retire on as a late person in their 20s. You have a mortgage, you have car repayments, you need income coming in, and you've just done porn for the past 3 to 5 years. And so your naked body is everywhere all over the internet. And so you go, oh my gosh, I hate doing this job, but what else am I supposed to do? What are my other options? I can't have a normal job. I've just done this, but I have bills, I have this. So you get trapped in this lie that you're not good for anything else. And I saw that firsthand. And then the other problem is I had a friend who was deleting their account. And there is so much hoops that you have to jump through because if you have paid subscribers on the account, if there's money in the account still, you can't just delete the account. You need to actually send a ticket to
Mhm.
OnlyFans, and then they, on your behalf, can delete your account and all of that. So it's not as simple as I just deleted and it's gone. There's the psychological factor to it. And then as well, the fact that OnlyFans actually makes you jump through hoops to delete your account.
I really believe it is important for people to understand because it's not as clear as it should be that once something is in the internet, no matter if it is OnlyFans, Instagram, or even WhatsApp, you have a lot
Yeah.
sexting and revenge porn, all that, those things that are appearing. As, from the moment something about you and your intimacy is in the internet, it is almost, it is virtually impossible to get rid of it. That's correct.
Correct. Yeah.
You have the
Yeah.
same impression. Okay. What now? I'd like to know a bit more about what you're doing now after leaving OnlyFans. So, as a first question, I'd like to understand what do our understanding is that now you're working with young girls to in like a preventive sense, to avoid them getting to OnlyFans, to understand the risks of the porn industry and all that. What are you doing in that sense? How can you and we how can we all help young girls avoiding entering in this kind of industry?
Yeah, yeah. So just from yeah, seeing the way that this destroys people's identity, it makes women think that this is all that they're good for, this is their only capacity. It just destroyed me. And so I have a huge heart for young women and protecting them and championing them and going, hey, do you know that you're worth so much more than
Mm.
just posting on Instagram and TikTok? And even some young girls that I've spoken to so far, they're like, oh, so not everything we see is real on social media. And I'm like, no, like, and we have to remember that we grew up in a time before the internet. So we know that things aren't real on the internet because we didn't have it for a period of time. This younger generation, like even I'm 26, but me and a 20-year-old are worlds apart. And it's because they've grown up with no other reality than the reality of the internet and of their phones. So of course they think that everything they see is real. Of course they idolize um being a TikToker, being a OnlyFans star, being an Instagram star, whatever it is. And they think that's their only option because of the way that it's so oversaturated and the way that it's just this highlight reel and it's all fake, and but they don't understand that. And so that's a huge problem that I've seen since I've started speaking to young girls. But basically that was my heart. My heart was I really want to protect and champion and educate young girls to go, hey, there is an alternative option. You don't have to sell yourself. It's not this glamorous thing that you think it is. Don't idolize these OnlyFans girls. Here in Australia, especially, our biggest TikToker, our most famous TikToker, is an OnlyFans porn star, and her demographic
Mm.
is like 13 to 17-year-old girls. So we literally have millions of young girls in Australia that idolize this TikToker that's an OnlyFans star. And they think that she's so funny, she travels, she has this amazing life. And they say, well, I want her life, so therefore I must do OnlyFans to have her life. And so I really just deeply care about championing young girls. I wish that someone had told me my worth and value That was like relatable. Mine manifested through business and thinking that I had to build
Yes.
businesses and monetary success to matter. But for so many women, it manifests their insecurities through doing porn, through posting provocative pictures. We know today as well that even just the distribution of child pornography is massive, and it's with
Yes.
teenagers and teenagers, and that's what they think their value is, how they should be, how they should act. What young men think women should be, how they should look, the acts they should do. So I just really care about breaking down those stigmas. Educating is just the most important thing, not demonizing, not putting people down.
Not shaming.
Um, yeah, and just saying, hey,
Absolutely.
there's an alternative reality. This isn't it. So that's my long-winded
An
answer,
alternative
as you
and
can
better
see about
reality, correct?
it.
Because here in we see a lot of different cases. Each person is a person, and we see a lot of cases, and it's not like if you want to quit porn and talking about people that consume porn, it's not like if you want to quit, you just quit.
Yeah.
You stop. No, you need to substitute it by something else. You need to have a new purpose in your life. You need to find someone and something you love to replace
Mm.
because actually you're the one being interviewed. So what do you think?
I know, I love it.
What do you think people are searching for? Both girls, we can understand that they want power, money, but at the end, that's not what fulfills
Yeah.
anyone, correct? And even those that are consuming, they are searching for love, don't you think? And
Yes.
this is a big
Yes.
lie we are telling as a society, as a culture to everyone.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't agree more. You took the words out of my mouth. It's a lack of love. And if you think about it, during COVID is when OnlyFans blew up, and that's when the world was at its most isolated. And so, of course, that's when this blew up, when people are yearning for connection. They are wanting some sort of companionship. And that's why pornography, I believe, as a whole, has just blown up and is the beast that it is today, because we live in such a decentralized world. And people are struggling to find connection, to find purpose, to find love, to find meaning. And so girls are finding it through doing OnlyFans, and men are finding it through buying OnlyFans.
And what recommendations would you give to parents?
To parents, if you're not educating your children, something or someone is. You need to have the conversations.
Absolutely.
You can't bury your head in the sand and think that this isn't happening to my child, that my kid would know better, because if they're not educated on it, they don't know. So you need to sit down, you need to have the awkward conversations, and you just open it up. You don't sit there and say, oh, do you know what OnlyFans is, or this or that, and freak them out. Just say, hey, do you know what to do if you see something that makes you uncomfortable? And people know, people know. You don't
Of
have to
course.
sit there and say if you see porn. Just say if something, do you know you can always come to me. If something makes you feel yucky, if it makes you feel a certain way, please let's talk about it. And then you say, do you know why we don't do this? Do you know why this isn't actually real? Why people do that? And you can start to break that narrative for them. Or for parents as well, a really big one is if you catch your children watching porn, do not shame them, as you mentioned before, because then it becomes behind closed doors. Again, ask them the questions. Where did you see this? How did you see this? How did it make you feel? And again, do you understand why we don't watch this? And open up those doors, because the porn industry thrives on shame. And so if we can break down the barriers for conversation and break down that shame, we can dismantle this industry.
Yeah. And there's you're talking about those difficult conversations and or awkward conversations as you put it.
Yeah.
I myself, I'm a father to three kids. One of them is a little girl, 1 year
Oh,
old. Uh,
amazing.
Thank you. But it's not like it is okay if you don't you are not in the porn industry or you're not in OnlyFans, but you are only posting bikini or suggestive pictures in your Instagram or your social media accounts. And it is really hard for men to have those kind of conversations with daughter. with their daughters. So how do you think it's the right approach, the right balance to explain the importance of modesty to
Yeah.
girls, if I can call it like that?
I think that it comes down to identity and what are you training your children from a young age to root their identity in? If they know from a young age that they are loved and precious and valuable and worthy and have a tailor-made carved out purpose for them that's unique to theirs. And that might sound silly, but it's the truth that if they know their identity and how loved they are, then you don't need to perform. You don't have that. But it comes down to a lot of people, adults that I've asked who have had really wonderful lives that, didn't fall into the over sexualization, really strong, sturdy marriages and a really solid identity. I've asked them, how? Like, what was it? And they say, my parents. My parents loved me, championed me. They told me what my identity was. They disciplined me in the right ways so I could be a well-adjusted, thriving, and happy and healthy human. And I think that that's what we really need to do as parents, especially from a young age, is what are we rooting our children's identity in? And then what are we speaking over them? And then what are we role modeling? Are we saying that we're only complimenting them when they look good? Are we only giving them achievements?
Mm.
Are we loving them in the right ways? Like, or are we saying that, you're so kind, you have a great sense of humor, you're really patient, and then you're rooting their identity and these things that are uniquely them instead of going, oh my gosh, you're so cute, you're so pretty, or like dismissing them and not loving them in any capacity. So I think that the most important thing, I'm not a parent, so I know that it's easier said than done, but it's just rooting your child's identity in their uniqueness and who they are and championing that, so they don't feel that they have to search for that somewhere else and search for that through posting a bikini photo, posting, a pornography photo or whatever it is.
It's all boils down to what we were talking about just a minute ago. It's not like you need to feel desired. It's rather you should feel loved and cared for, and that's
Absolutely.
what young girls should look for. It makes a lot of sense, and I believe parents have a really important role here, and fathers as role models and helping their daughters understanding what is the right way of treating a woman. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
that's really
Yeah.
important. No.
You hear so many girls that say that their dad has set the standard for a man and,
Yeah,
they won't stand
absolutely.
for anyone who treats them
That's a
less
huge
than what the father
responsibility,
does.
for instance.
Yeah. Mm.
Okay, I'm conscious of time. Can
Oh,
I
yeah.
do? I want to do like more 3 or 4 questions to wrap up. Is that okay for
Yeah.
you? Are you okay?
Amazing.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I know that we have a huge time difference here, more than
You're okay.
10,000 miles away. It's
I
for people
know.
to know it's crazy, but well, internet also has good things, as you
It
see.
has so many good, it does.
It is not only the bad things. A matter of having the right balance of everything. Like in relationship is the same. So and my here another question I'd like to we talked a bit about that slippery slope that could happen, that people want to just to put a bit more provocative picture or a movie or something like that. Um, within OnlyFans. But my question is that if you know of any relationship or transfer of persons, of creators of girls from OnlyFans to porn sites or even to prostitution. If
Yeah,
you think
so
that
I
there
think
is a link between those
yeah,
realities.
absolutely. So people think that OnlyFans is here and the pornography industry is here. But literally, they are the exact same thing. There's no difference between OnlyFans and the porn industry. And so I think we need to shatter that as well. People think that, oh, I do OnlyFans, but I'm not a sex worker. No, you're a sex worker and you produce porn. And so you're already indoctrinated into the ecosystem of pornography and the industry. And then it's a gateway. there was that many girls that I knew that will do OnlyFans, they're escorting, they're strippers, they're topless waitresses. It's all the same, you know? So if you're doing OnlyFans, why wouldn't you go do prostitution? If you're doing OnlyFans, why wouldn't you go be a stripper? Like it's all, or if you're an escort, why wouldn't you have an OnlyFans? Like it all is the exact same thing. And so, yeah, absolutely.
Makes sense. And for you now, we already saw what OnlyFans is, their dangers, how it works. Now, for you again, getting back to Victoria here, when did red flags started to pop up in your relationship with the agency? And what was the trigger for you to
Yeah.
leave that industry?
For me, so as I said, I was doing all the marketing. So I was seeing all the Instagram content, I guess you could say. So, but I didn't really see any of the OnlyFans or the pornography for a little bit. It wasn't until we decided if you're impersonating a person, because that's what we're doing as an agency, you're pretending to be a girl. So if I'm doing all of the social media stuff and then the OnlyFans manager is doing all the OnlyFans stuff, and you have a subscriber that's talking to you on OnlyFans, but talking to you on social media, there's a disconnect there. So people were starting to see the holes in our story because I don't know what's happening on OnlyFans and they don't know what's happening on social media. And
Mm,
so what we decided is instead of me doing all the social media and her doing all the OnlyFans, and then the manager doing all the OnlyFans management, we decided to split the girls down the middle and you would do the full life cycle of the
okay.
girl.
I see.
And so that's when I started to see all of the content. And for again, someone who's never really watched pornography or been exposed to it, it was such a slap in the face of like, oh my gosh, this is what we're doing. And then from there, I think because I knew the girls and I saw them like I'd made relationships and stuff with them like it was weird but then basically one day I started to really struggle. I couldn't open up my laptop anymore. I couldn't like see the content whatever. But one day one of the girls who I mentioned before who was the youngest in the agency, I was her account manager, and I was looking at her one day and it just clicked. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, one of my nieces is going to grow up and look exactly like this girl. And so then I thought about my niece and I was like, if my niece did this as a job, I would be devastated. I was like, but that's someone's niece. Why is it okay that she's doing this? And so from there, that's when I started to ask questions and I asked people at the agency what they thought about what we were doing and did they feel bad about it. And one person told me that it's like a safe injecting heroin room. People need
Wow.
a safe place to do drugs. We give people a safe place to do porn. And I was just feeling really dissatisfied with a lot of the answers and feeling really guilty. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to offset all the bad that I'm doing by volunteering. And I was like, that's the solution to the problem. And I signed up to volunteer and I just had this random memory one day that this church that I went to as a child years ago had this refugee program. So I was like,
Mm,
sick. I'm like, amazing. I'll go sign up to this refugee program and help all these refugees and then come back and problem solved. And I ended up somehow at a church service, and the lady in church was speaking about the dangers of this over sexualized culture and how it's destroying the next generation and how it's hurting our youth and how things like OnlyFans is so wrong. And imagine I'm sitting there, I work at an OnlyFans agency, and I'm seeing the statistics, I'm seeing the data, I'm hearing the stories of how this is destroying the younger generation and this new generation, and it's destroying my generation. And I felt awful. And I remember once she finished speaking, I ran down to her and I went up to this lady and I said, hi, my name's Victoria. I work for an OnlyFans agency and I hate myself.
mm,
And she goes, let's have lunch. And she sat with me and she just answered my questions. And that's why
mm,
I care so much about education. She didn't shame me. She didn't say I was stupid. I said the safe injecting drug room analogy. I'm like, aren't we doing a positive? Because I didn't understand.
mm.
And she just answered my questions. And so from that, that was on a Sunday, and by the Friday, I felt so wrong and so yucky in what I was doing that I quit the agency and I walked away from everything.
No, that's incredible and good for you. It's impressive your story, and thanks for sharing again. It's really
That's okay.
it really it means a lot. Well, anything else you'd like to share with young boys or girls or even with parents that we you should have mentioned and we forgot?
Um, I think the only thing I would like to say for the younger ones is if you find yourself, for the girls especially, leaning towards wanting to post that picture, wanting to send that boy that photo, potentially wanting to join that OnlyFans account or whatever it is, just literally put a timer on your phone for 10 minutes. Put a timer on
Okay.
your phone for 10 minutes and sit there and ask yourself why. And just keep asking why, keep asking why, keep asking why. Why do I want to join OnlyFans? Well, I have no money. Why? Well, I don't have a job right now. Why? Well, because of the why, why? And then you're going to understand the root cause. And so then the root cause would be, well, I don't feel worthy of having any other job. I'm desperate. I feel that the only thing I can do is go on OnlyFans to be able to make ends meet. And then you can sit there and you can just rationalize with yourself and go, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to sell my body and do porn. Like there's other options, there's other like it mitigates the possibility. You know what I mean? Or if that boy
Absolutely.
that you like asks you for that naked photo, just sit there for 10 minutes, go, why? Why would I send this to him? Why would I do that? Will he like me more if I do this? Probably not. I know that I deep down it's because I want him to like me, but my work
Mm,
and you can just kind of sit there. And if you keep asking why, you'll get to the root cause, and then you probably won't make that silly mistake that you'll regret. So that's just something that I really encourage for people to do, especially young girls, is just sit there and ask why. And it's for anyone, an adult, like it doesn't really matter. But I think that that's really important because when we make these decisions, there's a root cause behind it. And I think once you get to the root cause of why you want to do what you want to do, then you can actually act on that instead of doing something that you might regret.
no, that makes a lot of sense. In terms of public policies, have you ever wondered if there is a role for policymakers on avoiding or trying to fight against this culture? I give you an example. I know if in Australia it's like that, but here in Portugal we have a program in schools for sex education. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's the same there, and the program basically it melts down to do what you want but use condom, and I don't think that very useful, and we are seeing by the statistics that everyone is consuming porn by very young age, so definitely sex education in schools are not working. We already talked about the role of parents, and I think that is absolutely probably the center of the action, and of course of a broader community of educators such as yourself and associations like our own. But in terms of policies, public policies, do you think that there is something we should do or try to force our politicians, our representatives to do?
I think for me personally, I wouldn't know, just being honest, I wouldn't know where to begin with what you could do because it's like make it illegal. Well, that's not really a solution to the problem.
Yeah.
I think that if we focus more on, again, the why and on the people and on the individual and on loving people and educating people and championing people, then if you don't have a demand, then you don't have a product. And that's what we should care about more. We should care about why are people consuming porn? How can we help them? How can we love on them? How can we champion men to not feel that they are going to get a connection through porn? Let's educate them on why it's bad. And let's educate young women on why this is hurting them, that this isn't liberating. And let's again get to that root cause. And I think that that's it. As we mentioned before, and it might sound lame, but I think on an individual level, if we can just love on people, that's so much more powerful and so much more transformative than any law could ever be.
Well, well, that absolutely, totally agree. Okay, to wrap up, then tell our listeners where they can where they can find you, learn more about you and the work you're doing.
Yeah. So my Instagram, yeah, is victoria.sinis, Sinis. And then I have a TikTok, which is vic.sinis. I love my TikTok. I answer a lot of questions on there. And I actually go on a tour of America soon, speaking about all of this. So on TikTok, I'll be posting a bunch of that. And then my educational program is called Creating Gems. And
Mhm.
so through Creating Gems, you're able to either hire me for your school, hire me to speak about any of this. And I also have a newsletter which just goes into a lot more detail about everything, any podcasts that I'm on, any information, and as well this upcoming trip to the US. So they're kind of my three main ones: Instagram, TikTok, and then my website.
All right. Thank you so much. Finger
Yeah.
crossed for your visit to the United States, and keep doing the job you're doing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much. This was such a delight. I really appreciate it.